Initially, when I first thought about this, I was going to start recording my timing for one, and I was going to carry on from the goal setting session that we did last time. However, what I thought was, often we set goals and then we don't meet them, and basically this is the entirety of Rachel's sort of business, so we know that this happens, don't we? So yeah, I really wanted to talk to you, not as an expert but as a friend, on sort of why and what happens when we goal set and we don't achieve it. So yeah, I've worked on myself over and over and over again on this field. This book landed on my doorstep in October, November time, and I thought, oh, I'll share some stuff from this book. So really, I'd just love for you guys to get what you want out of 2023 and not to have your brain go, no thanks, actually, I'm comfortable where I am, because that's what sometimes our unconscious does. So first of all, if you saw my little book there and the title and went, oh, self-sabotage, and in the questions it's already come up, hasn't it, self-sabotage, I want you to know that you can give yourself a bit of a break, because we're hardwired, we're really, really hardwired to take the safe option. So if you see that little pink bead there, that little pink bead is our amygdala. And our amygdala is what basically is our caveman or cavewoman. So really it's set there and it's saying things like, we don't eat those berries, last time we ate berries we were poorly, or let's not go outside in the dark, because when Fred went outside in the dark he was eaten by a bear. Although it has no option to differentiate between eaten by a bear and maybe a slight risk of taking a new job or something like that. So but what it does is, it says to you, no, maybe you don't want to take that promotion, it'll be a bit hard work, you don't really need that extra money, let's have the safe option. And when you take that safe option and you listen to your amygdala, it goes, woohoo, here's a bit of dopamine, and here's thank you for being safe, well done for taking the nice safe option. So like I say, don't be so hard on yourself if you haven't met your goals, because we are hardwired to take the safe option. So I told you that I'd worked on myself quite a bit. Here's the lies I've told myself. I've told myself that I'm a bad mum, that my birth trauma was my fault, that I couldn't be successful in business anymore, that PTSD was just taking over my life, and that is what my life is now. I also told myself that I couldn't look after the kids on my own. All of this stuff kind of happened in my brain in lockdown. So we know that my go-to during that time was negative self-talk. So bear with me on this one. Here's some predictions. When I get to the next slide, something is going to resonate with you. And it probably already has, since the question that Ness kindly asked earlier. Actually, I've done quite well from what I'm doing right now. But what I want you to do is be a bit curious. When the next slide comes on, think of the thing that really bothers you the most about the next slide. So what is self-sabotage? Well, it's anything really that makes you get in your own way of what you want or what you need. So it could be things like seeking approval, poor time management, avoidance, oh, this one's hard, perfectionism, negative self-talk, excuses for inaction, procrastination, not taking time for yourself and self-care, and comparing yourself to others. So when I said those things, just be a bit curious and have a little think. I just thought we'd do a little activity that is just for you, not for anyone else, but just grab a pen and paper, or if you can, and have a little think about which of those self-sabotage behaviours that you actually use. Is there anything that you feel guilty about, anything that you feel out of alignment? Stella often talks about this, and I'm sure it's sort of permeated in our mind, of things that don't quite feel right. So have a little look at those questions there. Feel free to write them down. Think about that one behaviour that you really think, oh gosh, I am a procrastinator, or oh, I don't talk to myself very nicely. And think about that thing. What does it cost you? So does it cost you time? Does it cost you money? Is it sanity? What are you avoiding? So are you feeling uncomfortable? Is it change? Is it pushing out of your comfort zone? What is it pushing you away from? So, you know, is it pushing you away from the best relationships you can have, the best health you can have? Is it pushing you away from further growth? And most importantly, and again, probably that'll resonate with this, is where do you feel it? So for me, when I'm talking about my self-sabotage and my negative self-talk, I used to feel it in my chest if it was about business. So I'd like get tight-chested and I wouldn't want to have a conversation and I wouldn't want to have that phone call and I didn't want to do the things that pushed me further forward. That's my chest. However, if we're talking about bad mum self-talk, that's on my shoulders. Bad mum lives on my shoulders. So where you feel it, and if you can really work out where you feel things, will help you recognise where you're feeling them in the future. And I suppose recognition is where it helps the most, because then you can say, oh, there we are, stuff you amygdala, no thanks, actually you're trying to make me safe, you're trying to make me comfortable, but actually I want to make those small and consistent changes. Like Tina spoke about that, hasn't she, today? You know, those small and consistent changes really make a big, you know, impact on your life. So remember that awesome hormone that I told you about earlier, for when you're safe, you get that kick of hormone saying, yeah, you're safe. The good news is that actually, if you do the thing that's hard, then you will get a bigger kick of hormones to say, yes, buzz is bigger and better. Yes, I went to the gym. I've got more hormones for doing that. So as Tina said earlier about the small changes, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, making those small changes, knowing that biologically your brain doesn't want you to do this, but you want to do it. And being willing to sort of challenge that self-sabotage brain will really help you. Be gentle on yourself. Remember that the wiring is there for a reason. It's to stop you being eaten by a bear or, you know, whatever. But at this point, actually, I'm not being eaten by a bear. I just want to get better. So don't allow that to be an excuse to give up, but also be mindful and real that you might not always get it right. You know, it takes time and it takes being uncomfortable for a while to make these changes. So yeah, but the other thing I want to be mindful of, and something that's really been useful for me, is to make sure that your goals align with your values, because actually sometimes it's because things aren't quite right in a different way. So yeah, just making sure that, you know, yes, I want to get married because I'm in love, or, you know, whatever it is, I want to lose weight because it'll make me healthier, you know, not because it'll make me look good for this guy that I want to pull, and then when he doesn't fancy me, I do nothing with the information, you know. So why have I told you about this? What has it got to do with my business? So what's it got to do with Save with Jewell? Well, being the best version of me helps me serve myself and others better. But often, actually, when people join my team, it's more about believing in themselves than skill building quite often. And I often ask newbies to borrow my belief in themselves while I support their growth in their business and their confidence. So it's sort of, that's how I use this kind of stuff in my business, is that, you know, just helping support people to believe in themselves really moves them forward in whatever they want to do in their lives. And I'm just about leaving people better than I found them. So we all know that there's a cost of living crisis right now. We all know that as business owners, we can work smarter and not harder. But there's people in your circle of trust that maybe they're salaried, maybe they can't earn any more for whatever reason, and maybe this might help them. So I don't show you this slide for any other reason than you know that there's a meaningful income there that people can earn with my support, helping them get through whatever they need to get through for whatever they want. So I don't want to pay too much attention to that slide, but purely just to show you that there is good money available with my support if you know anybody that would like that. 1 minute. And oh, we're nearly at the end. Good times. So we just to a little section about further reading, really. So these are the books that I have used in this. Slight Edge is really great in general. It's great for business, it's great for life, just making those small little can't get my words out changes to get to what you want. Unfluff Your Brain is really good if you've got some mental things going on. It helps with the science behind that. And Self-Sabotage No More. It's a little bit woo-woo, but it's a really great book for just overcoming those repeating problems. So yeah, that's me. That's a whistle-stop tour. There's obviously lots more that could be said on this, but I really wanted to talk about, just making sure that your worst enemy is not living between your two ears, because it's easy for us to do that to ourselves. And yeah, any questions, feel free to ask me them. I'm